I mean, it's encouraging at the very least just to see young people engaged in this manner. And it's also just stunning to see how there is so much of an apparatus that is available, reactionary apparatus that is available, regardless of sort of like broader political contexts. This stuff is just waiting there to be essentially, engaged. And in part, that there's an analogy with our guest today in terms of sort of the anti-democratic impulses of this country and structural anti-democratic structures, essentially, that can play into the impulses of any given day. But we will get to that in a moment. But speaking of these protests, they have been happening all across the country. I think we're still like now Columbia is now threatening to expel the students that are on the campus right now. And or if they do not vacate the encampment by 2 p.m., the university is going to initiate mass evictions and interim suspensions.
The eviction part is really, I mean, especially in a place like New York where it's very difficult to find housing. It's unconscionable what they're doing.
Yep. And
NYU also.
We're seeing this around the country. I mean,
Wisconsin,
I think it was UNC, Emerson up in Boston.
Gophers in Minnesota.
Northeastern in Boston,
Northeastern
too.
as well. Here is a clip of an Emory University philosophy department chair. Her name is Noelle McAfee, and she was arrested. And here she is explaining or talking about these demonstrations. I think it was in Emory, too, where another professor got just tackled.
Yeah.
And she seemed to be shocked. Here is McAfee.
A few minutes before that happened, I'd been coming down here to observe in hopes that the president had not called in Atlanta police, that it was just Emory police observing a peaceful protest. And then as soon as I got here, I saw the state troopers coming in, and a colleague pointed out that the APD was here.
When you saw that there was another agency besides Emory Police, what were your concerns?
That this would escalate. This would become bedlam and mayhem, and it did immediately. So immediately, I think some students were, I wasn't sure. I was standing kind of right by the flagpole, and it seemed that I was actually over there, and I walked towards the flagpole because I saw something going on with a bunch of police had tackled a young person and threw them on the ground and were just pummeling them, just pummeling. And the mother in me said, stop, and I made sure to stand 4 feet away from them, and I was standing still in a non-confrontational way. I said, stop, and then when the cop stood up and got right in front of me and said, ma'am, you need to step back. You need to step back. And I was watching them pummel somebody. I said, no. And they arrested me. So that little viral thing happened when I was being pulled off, and somebody had asked me, like, who are you? What's going on? Can I help?
I mean, you've become the face, sort of, in the last 24 hours of the clash that unfolded after all of this. How does that feel?
Well, I think there's one misconception. So I've gotten really mostly 99.9% positive, loving things from all over the world. And the misconception is that they say, thank you for standing up for Gaza. I have my own complicated sets of views about the conflict, and I think that what is happening is horrific, the conflict. At the same time, I was here standing up for students and their freedom of expression, and I wanted an opportunity for a peaceful expression of their views, peaceful dissent. And that was my concern. So I'm happy to be able to raise awareness.
All right, no, get the protest. Let's watch her being arrested. This is her describing the situation. All right, yeah, let's play this.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Is there anything I can do for you right now?
Yes, can you call the philosophy department office and tell them I've been arrested?
Philosophy department?
Yes, call the philosophy department office.
I will. What's your...
Noel McAfee, I'm chair of the philosophy department.
I got you.
The president-elect.
Now,
I got you. I'm so sorry.
What's
so sorry.
amazing about this, there's a couple of things. First off, one, incidentally, this is what Cop City is, these are the cops that are going to be at least hosting Cop City and training people. Why they're wearing ski masks in the middle of the day? I mean, this type of stuff is just creepy as F, as it were.
There were also other reports of snipers on roofs at other universities. Too.
Ohio State University had snipers on its roof on multiple days. They lied about it. Ohio State University, where 4 students were killed, or I should say in Ohio, at Kent State, almost 35 years ago, I guess. 40 years ago, 50 years ago. Sorry.
And that's the part that's reminiscent
55
of
years.
Vietnam War protests.
Yes.
So there's the tactics of divestment that you see from the clearly borrowing from the South Africa divestment demonstrations, but also, I mean, the repression is very much like what we saw in the late 60s.
What could the justification be for covering his face like that? It's like
it's
fascist
nuts.
goon squad.
You know, it was funny. I saw that guy, Michael Tracy, talk about how the protesters, I think it was in Grand Army Plaza, there was a large group of Jewish anti-Zionist protesters, who many of whom were masked. And this ding-dong was complaining that they were all sort of COVID fanatics without apparently having been aware of the doxing that has been going on specifically by
Canary Mission,
Israel and ethnic cleansing and genocide forces. But it was funny to watch a faceplant like that. But to watch cops doing it, I'm sorry. Like, if you're a public servant, this is part of it. You're going to go there and arrest peaceful protesters. You shouldn't be doing it in ski masks. It's really, really creepy. In a moment, we'll be talking to Ari Berman, national voting rights correspondent at Mother Jones, author of Minority Rule, The Right-Wing Attack on the Will of the People and the Fight to Resist It.